Extremist members of a nationwide chat group made up of so-called Reich citizens and opponents of the corona policy are said to have planned explosive attacks and the kidnapping of Federal Minister of Health Karl Lauterbach here in Germany. In doing so, they would have terrified the population and wanted to use the desired chaos to take power in Germany, investigators said on Thursday in Mainz. 4 suspects were arrested in nationwide searches on Wednesday. The 2 main suspects are a 55-year-old from Neustadt an der Weinstraße in Rhineland-Palatinate and a 54-year-old man from Falkensee in Brandenburg, said the lead public prosecutor in Koblenz and the Rhineland-Palatinate State Criminal Police Office. The 4 arrested are accused of preparing a serious act of violence that is dangerous to the state and of violating the Weapons and War Weapons Control Act. An arrest warrant was issued against them. According to the information, 22 firearms, including a Kalashnikov assault rifle, as well as ammunition, cash, gold bars, silver coins, and foreign currency, were seized during the searches. Rhineland-Palatinate was the focus with 5 searches. 3 other properties were searched in Bavaria and Lower Saxony, 2 each in North Rhine-Westphalia, Saxony, and Thuringia. There were also searches in Baden-Württemberg, Schleswig-Holstein, and Brandenburg. According to the investigators, the chat group in the short message service Telegram called itself United Patriots, but sometimes also Germany Day X, or gave itself other names. The group, which is said to have about 70 members, initially wanted to carry out attacks on power lines and substations within a blackout action and thus allow the power supply to collapse. After that, Health Minister Lauterbach was supposed to be kidnapped during the so-called Klabautermann campaign. In a third step, the takeover of the government was then sought. The problem with such investigations is always the question of whether one is dealing with crazy people who just want to make a name for themselves on the internet and want to show off loudly in front of their fellow combatants. That's what Koblenz Attorney General Jürgen Brauer explained. In this case, however, it was different, namely at the moment when it came to procuring the weapons, he said. The group got money and weapons. It was clear to us that we weren't just dealing with cranks, but with dangerous criminals who also want to implement their plans and probably can, he said. After investigating possible bomb attacks and kidnappings, Federal Interior Minister Nancy Faeser spoke of a serious terrorist threat. The politician said on Thursday in Berlin, "The investigations reveal an abyss. Armed citizens of the Reich and radicalized corona deniers share a boundless hatred of democracy, of the state, and of people who stand up for the community. The kidnapping plans against Federal Health Minister Karl Lauterbach and the violent subversion fantasies showed a new quality of the threat. We are countering this threat with all constitutional consistency," said the minister. Some English words are really hard. Members of that chat group in the short message service Telegram are said to have planned bombs attacks and the kidnappings, as I said. And the investigation under the leadership of the General Public Prosecutor's Office in Koblenz and the State Criminal Police Office, which we call LKA, in Rhineland-Palatinate, took action against them in a number of federal states. And Faeser said the investigation revealed, once again, a serious terrorist threat. We're not talking about just fun. Karl Lauterbach and all of us as Democrats will not allow ourselves to be intimidated, she said. We protect our democracy. And once again, violent extremists and corona deniers have networked and radicalized on Telegram. This shows how important it is to take decisive action against extremist and terrorist threats on this platform. And Federal Minister of Justice Marco Buschmann told the German newspaper Rheinische Post, "Anyone who follows plans for attacks and kidnappings is laying an axe on our free democracy. I'm all the more pleased that our security authorities have apparently done very good investigative work." And Chancellor Olaf Scholz wrote on Twitter, "My solidarity goes to Karl Lauterbach. Everyone in Germany is allowed to speak their mind, but our freedom rights have limits. These are exceeded when violence is threatened. We will fight the enemies of our democracy with all means of the rule of law," he emphasized. And the Rhineland-Palatinate Interior Minister Roger Levin said the plans were right-wing terrorism. The success of the investigation came from Rhineland-Palatinate, where the Office for the Protection of the Constitution provided the crucial information. The case also shows that citizens can rely on being protected by the state. The investigation has been underway since last October. The authorities in Rhineland-Palatinate are in charge as the 55-year-old main suspect lives there. Overall, the investigators speak of 12 German nationals between the ages of 41 and 55 who are accused. Federal Minister of Health Lauterbach was dismayed by the possible kidnapping plans against him. He thanked the investigating authorities and the Federal Criminal Police Office for the good protection and surveillance. And unfortunately, not only here in Germany but everywhere, social media has a part in, I don't know, setting free some kind of violence that started just with the verbal violence, but we stumble upon this more and more often, and especially with politics. Even if you're a voluntary politician, I had to press charges this week because we are in an election campaign at the moment in my state, and this time I myself saw someone damaging our campaign posters, and I just asked him what that's supposed to be, and that made him threaten me with quite serious consequences if I press charges. But of course I did. You can't intimidate me and to do nothing. But that seems to be a normal thing nowadays, which is quite regrettable. But the police is taking care of that now. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.